Hello, guys. Welcome aboard. We are here for another hour or so of Arbitrage Q&A. I am here with my friend Allan. Allan, say hi.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
You should be able to see both of us, and we are live. It is noon, maybe a couple minutes past, but it's noon Central Standard Time, and we are wanting to join you to talk about selling on Amazon and doing arbitrage, where you are making money by finding products in one market at a low price and turning around and selling them in a different market, namely the Amazon online market, at a higher price and being able to make a profit. And we are excited about that because what Allan and I have seen and what we've witnessed many others see is through doing that one step at a time, you can really build a business for yourself and get to the point to where you're creating margin in your budget. My situation about 5 years ago was one where really I was greatly blessed. I had a good job. The job was very adequate to cover the costs of my family. But by conviction, my wife stayed home with our children. And as we had more children, that became more important to us. And neither she nor myself really wanted her to have to go look for a second job. And we had no room in our budget to save to buy a house, to really get rid of debt. We were making our minimum debt payments and our budget was covered. And sincerely, we were grateful for that. But I just kept thinking, how can I create additional margin so that I can get rid of my debt and start saving money so that maybe I can buy a house? Maybe I have some income that I could look at and do something special with. My wife and I were just kind of living bare bones. And I discovered arbitrage and an Amazon FBA, and it really set me on what's been a 5-year journey of figuring out how to create margin in my life. And it's been awesome. Now I'm standing in the video room that I built in my new house. And all of that's a result of what I've done on Amazon through arbitrage. And what our desire is for you to have the same experience. I just think the more people that can add margin to their budget, it just gains them the freedom to navigate life in a whole bunch of ways and to do what they're convicted is most important, to do what they enjoy, to really connect with loved ones. You know, one of the biggest issues that creates marital strife and causes problems in marriages is financial difficulty. And when the finances are tight, it can just make marriage and family very difficult. And man, what it would feel like to just have a little bit of breathing room. We're not necessarily talking about striking out to be a millionaire, though we know people who have done that. But really what we're looking to suggest is that you can create margin to have freedom. So here's what we want to do. I'm going to ask Allan a couple questions and get the ball rolling here. But really what our hope is that you'll engage with us and ask good questions. Farah, I see you. Hamed, I see you. Emo, I'm excited that you're with us, and I'm hoping more will join, and I want to field your arbitrage questions. So let me start. Allan, you can welcome our viewers, and you can say, hey, which I want you to have opportunity to, but then speak a little bit about how you've been able to really gain momentum in your Amazon business. Maybe think back to the early days and what was helpful for you to really kind of get momentum started to where you really were able to expand and grow.
Sure, man. And I'm not 100% sure if they can see us on YouTube. I'm trying to monitor the YouTube video, but it looks like it hasn't started yet. And there's two different live videos, but none of them are streaming. So
well, that's a problem.
Yeah, hopefully they can see us, but I don't see them. Can you guys see us on YouTube? Maybe if we ask them, because I'm not 100% sure if they see us. I see some of you guys here on this room, and I can see Josh and Florentina and Charlene, but I'm not 100% sure if they see us on YouTube. That's gonna be a problem.
It is a problem. I've got Saturday Arbitrage Q&A, August 17th.
Yes. That's what I have here too. but I don't know if the connection to YouTube it's working, and I don't know if we can fix it now that we're live. So it's gonna be a tough situation because I don't see anything going streaming live on YouTube, man. I did put a link on the YouTube chat.
I saw that. Join us here.
Yeah,
the broadcast link.
And I can see more people joining, so hopefully they'll jump into this side, but it's not going live.
Yeah, there's a couple questions. Florentina, I see you. Josh, Charlene. The link from the website doesn't go to this video. I only found it because Crowdcast sent me a notification that you guys were live.
Yeah, it has been hard to understand how this whole new connection works, and we thought we had it figured out. Last week we were able to do the live, and we didn't have any major issues. But today, for some reason, it's not going live on YouTube. So I guess one thing we can do is we can just do the webinar here and then just upload the video. I don't know if you want to do that or if we want to just answer a few questions here and then let everybody know that we couldn't make it work.
Yeah, I mean, if more and more people can join here and they've got questions, I'm happy to do the Q&A, and we can figure out how to link it into YouTube. And then we need to figure out by next week kind of what the wrinkles are still in this. So YouTube has changed several things, and we've navigated that to get into a really good place, and we've just hit some sort of snag this week. So bear with us. Thanks for working with us. I'm seeing questions, and I like that. Thanks, Jen. So whatever we need to do to kind of direct people here, and if any of you guys know what the link is and can post it on the YouTube chat, get those guys over to us. That'd be helpful as well. But yeah, let's keep rolling, and hopefully we'll generate some questions. So, Allan, again, I want you to just reach back and think a little bit about what it took for you to begin to really build momentum. I know it's closely related to your inventory and how you manage your inventory. So just speak to that a little bit.
Well, for me, one of the big the first things that we noticed when we started selling on Amazon was that the more inventory we were able to bring to the Amazon warehouse, the more sales we started getting. But it wasn't at the beginning. We were sending a lot of inventory, and I was actually today I was actually speaking with a group of our members about one of the mistakes that I did at the beginning, and one of the reasons why I don't like to sell or buy a lot of inventory from one item, like 20, 40, 50 units, because when I started selling on Amazon, I started doing, trying to buy a lot of stuff, but I didn't know exactly what kind of products should I be buying, and I was buying items with a very high rank and very high BSR. They did have good profit margins, but I didn't have a lot of experience. So I've been carrying for the last 3 years. I've been carrying a lot of inventory that after 5-6 months of having the product on the warehouse, I have to request it back, hold it for a few months until the next season, and kind of send it again. And this week, I did 2 trips to Goodwill just to get rid of all that and just put it as a loss, because I figure with everything that I've sold from those batches of products that I purchased, I probably already recovered my investment. But any profit, it's been kind of holding, and I've been trying to sell that to just get a little bit of profit. But after 3 years, I figure, okay, I have to give up this and just move on. But those are the kind of like the mistakes when I started. I started making a few mistakes, but I quickly realized that the more inventory I have, a high quality inventory on my account, the faster I was scaling my business. So the more sales I was getting, and so I started focusing on learning how to buy good quality inventory. And when I talk about good quality inventory, I don't talk about good, the brand that it's a good brand or it's a I'm not talking about the actual product. I'm talking about high profit margin and low ranks.
Yeah, and I want to mention the wrenches that we talked about last week. We kind of had a debate in last week's program over quantities a little bit, and Allan and I are pretty different. Somebody was asking about how much quantity do we buy, and Allan almost always buys 2 or 3 of a product and caps it there. And I had found these wrenches that had, I forget what the ROI was on those. It was like 200%.
It was a lot.
So I bought like 12 of one variety, and those 12 wrenches went live yesterday, and I've already sold 3.
That's
so less than 24 hours. So yeah, what Allan's saying is huge. If you're not really analyzing your products carefully, and then you're going to be building inventory, but you're going to be potentially building inventory with items that aren't going to sell or are going to be extremely slow sellers. And so, I mean, if you buy 10 items and the items only selling 1 a month, you've kind of put yourself into a pattern of having to wait nearly a year for those to sell. And that's if you have no competition. So again, this is why we promote our Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership. Just One Dime has launched an Arbitrage membership, and we go into great detail talking about how you can analyze your products and how you can make sure that the products you're purchasing are going to sell, and they're going to sell at the price that you expect them to sell at. Because there's a whole lot of ways you can get into frustrations, and one is that you buy products that don't sell. I mean, it doesn't matter how cheap you buy the product and how quickly you get it to Amazon, and it doesn't matter if you're taking advantage of Amazon FBA. If the product doesn't sell, if it has no demand, then you're not going to make money. You're going to be frustrated that you've made an investment and then not made any sales. And then on the other side, people get frustrated because they send in their items and the price just doesn't hold. And so now they're selling, maybe they've sold their items, but they've barely broke even because the price took a dive. And you can't always avoid that. That's going to happen. The price is going to change, and you've got to deal with that. But in so many situations, what the issue is it's a research issue, and it's how you're analyzing the product issue. And what it turns out is that, maybe it was a really inflated price that you pivoted off of, or you didn't really take a look at the competition. And so take a look when we get this on YouTube, and the link is below. Take a look at the link and take a look at our membership. And it really does have everything to do with how you're building your inventory based on finding quality products. And that's why I thought the wrenches that we talked about last week were a cool example, because I'm not always going to pull the trigger and buy everything that they have. They happen to have 12 of that wrench. In fact, there were 4 varieties, and I think when all was said and done, I bought like 25 or 30 because there were 4 different varieties. But I don't always do that. But the BSR was so strong, and other things that I was researching gave me really good confidence that these were going to sell. And so what we want to advocate for out there is that you guys are making purchases with confidence and investing with confidence based on the fact that Amazon gives you all kinds of data to base your decision on. So seller after seller that we talk to runs into frustrations and problems that are generated from the fact that they're making emotional decisions, or they're kind of shooting from the hip, or they're doing what they think will work and they're hoping will work, or they're buying items that they like. And none of those things really factor into making a real careful data-driven decision. And we want to talk about how you can make data-driven decisions. Well, we've got some questions, and we'll work with them, and hopefully more will be able to join and ask us the questions. Farah, I see you. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Farah. I believe you were on the YouTube chat and you made it in here with us, so I'm grateful for that. So let's look at some of these questions. Jen first asks, do you recommend to give our Amazon account access to prep centers so that they can do everything for us? Shipping plan, FNSKU, et cetera. So answer that first, Allan. And then second, say the second question is about prep centers too. So for international sellers, can we send products that we buy from Walmart directly to the prep center? And do they accept payment via World First? Those are good prep center questions. Why don't you speak to prep centers, Allan?
Sure. You definitely want to give access to a prep center. Depending on how they do, how they do the process. Because, for example, I've had several prep centers throughout the years, and some of them they didn't require me to give them access because we work with Google Sheets, and I will let them know what I bought, and we will kind of manage everything using Google Sheets. And then I found one prep center that they do everything. I give them access as one of the users on my account. They log in, they have access to the inventory. They can, add the inventory. They can create a shipment and do everything for me. They charge a little bit more, but I don't really have to do a lot of stuff, a lot of things. Only, just focus on buying the product, and then they take care of everything else. So you definitely, if you find a prep center that has that full service option, it's a lot easier, a lot better for you to manage your purchases. And then the other thing that a lot of international sellers are gonna some of the issues that they're gonna encounter are having that payment option accepted by Walmart or any retail store. And three things that we recommend are gonna be: one, use something like a World First, account where they give you a debit card and with a Visa logo or MasterCard. You can also use Pioneer, which is kind of like the same service, and so you can pay the retail stores for your product, and then they send it directly to the prep center. And then the other option is using PayPal, which a lot of companies now, retail stores accept payments through PayPal. So you can have money on your PayPal account and then pay through PayPal. And then the last thing is, if you go to your local bank in your city and you ask them to give you an international credit card, even if you have to put some money, or if it's a debit card, but it's an international debit card, that's going to be a lot of retail stores are going to accept that a lot easier, because they understand that there's a lot of people traveling all over the world, and they are purchasing items all the time, so they have less issues with that kind of those kind of cards. So international credit cards, PayPal, and then using either Pioneer or First World Bank, and those things are going to be. And one of the things I recommend people that I talk to is, don't just focus on one. Try to have all the options. So if one store won't accept PayPal, then you can use your credit card, international credit card, or you can use your Pioneer card.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And I'm seeing Jahangir, and again, forgive me for pronunciation, Farah. Thank you for your grace. Says it's okay I pronounce it correctly, which is a miracle. But Jahangir from India, he's asking, is it doable from India? And I think part of Allan's answer is yes, absolutely. He just gave some insight into that. So what we have experienced, and we have a lot of members of our Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership who do this. And by the way, I put the link in the Crowdcast chat. You guys can check that out. But we have a lot of members from a variety of international locations, and certainly India is one where we have successful members doing Amazon, selling on Amazon, doing arbitrage. But the primary way that they do it is they set up the accounts that Allan was talking about in the US so that they can shop from .com websites. So they shop from Target.com and Walmart.com and all the different websites that we talk about doing online arbitrage through. And then when you purchase your product from a .com website, you can have it shipped directly to that prep center. And a prep center, all a prep center is a facility that will act as an intermediary between you and Amazon FBA, because your products need to be prepared. If you buy something from Walmart and it comes with a Walmart clearance sticker on it, certainly you want to remove that clearance sticker. You want to clean up the product. Sometimes you need to put it in a special box or put it in a poly bag. So anytime I sell shirts or a pair of shorts, I want to make sure it's in a nice clean bag, not gummed up with stickers. I want to make sure it's folded nicely. And then you put what's called an FN SKU on each item, and that's simply a barcode that allows Amazon to recognize that that's your product. And what's cool for international sellers is there are US-based prep centers that'll do all that work for you. And they charge you a per item fee to do it, but it's worth it, because when you're finding items that have a strong margin, a significant return on your investment built right into the selling price, then you can afford to take on some of those expenses. And it's really what enables you from an international location to do the business and to scale the business, because now you can, anywhere that you can find deals, you can funnel all those products to the prep center, and that prep center is working to prepare them and sending them to Amazon FBA. And then Amazon is, those items are being sold through the Amazon marketplace to shoppers all over the United States, really all over North America, and a variety of international locations through Amazon.com. And if you're finding items with good margins when they sell, even though you're paying fees to Amazon and to the prep center, you're going to make significant money. And that's been our experience. And so, Jahangir, you definitely can do it from India. I don't think you need a specialized skill set. Really what you need is perseverance and determination to work hard, because there is a learning curve. You have to learn how to navigate Amazon Seller Central. You need to learn really how to understand what are the best products to purchase, but it doesn't require some set of skills. And I think if you're decent with numbers, that's helpful, because you're looking at prices, you're doing price comparisons, you're factoring in fees. And our membership goes into all these details, and we spend a lot of time and a lot of effort on helping you know what products to say yes to. I want to buy these because they're going to sell and I'm confident I'll make money, and what products to say no to. And now you're off and running, building your inventory, building your business. And what we would want you to aspire to is to build a long-term business, to build a business that in 2, 3, 4 years, you'll still be generating margin for you and your family, and maybe even moving into a place where you can begin branding your own products. And I know some of you are doing that. You're creating a private label scenario where you're putting your own brand on your own products that you're getting from a supplier and selling those on Amazon. And there's really good potential there. So you can do it from India. And I think I've mentioned, Jahangir, the costs that are involved. When you use Amazon FBA, Amazon charges you fees for the service. And when you use a prep center, they charge you fees. But you just got to build that in and factor that in as you're thinking about what items to buy, what items to say yes to. We have a friend named Florentina who joined us, and she says that she's been active for a couple months now and is still struggling to find potential product. The way she says potential product makes it sound like a private label product. She could clarify that for us. But do you want to speak to that, Allan? Any tips for her? She says yes.
Well, private label, the difference between doing arbitrage and private label is that for arbitrage, we are just reselling products. So any big brands or any known brands are going to be the products that we're buying and reselling them. Now, when you move to private label, you are creating a new product, a new brand, and for that you have to take more time to do research, identify a good niche, a good market, and then decide if that's the market where you're gonna go into. But you're gonna be selling one product, and you're probably gonna end up selling 1,000 units, 2,000 units a month, but you focus all of your efforts on one product and one niche. It is a little bit different because you're going to spend a lot of time at the beginning working and studying and analyzing and doing a lot of market research. But once you start selling, the more you optimize and the more time you spend at the beginning finding a good market, the better results you're going to have, with your product. So for private label, it's okay if it takes you, a few months, 3 months to kind of learn that process and understand that process. You won't see profits because you're not really selling yet. And then on the contrary, if for arbitrage, it's a lot easier to find, a good brand product that is selling on Amazon and just buy 2-3 units, send them in to Amazon, and then start selling them. So the nice thing about arbitrage and private label is that you can combine both of them when you're starting up. We have a lot of members in the community that they started with private label, but while they're learning and understanding and finding that potential product and potential market, they start doing arbitrage, and then they start having some sales, getting some extra profit, and then from that they can jump in and do private label. And we have people that are doing already private label and they want to increase their sales, so they jump into arbitrage so they can combine both business models in their account.
Yeah, it's a simple way to diversify your portfolio, so you're just gaining more opportunities, and I think they complement each other well. I think arbitrage is a little steadier and a little less risky, and it requires less work with a supplier, but you lose a bunch of advantages because I don't know that you have the potential to, make it as much money. Certainly with one product and private label, your product can just do really well. And now the amount of energy you're having to put into that product for what you're getting out of it is way less. And so there's pros and cons, and I think they complement each other very well. There's people who have gone through seasons of struggle in their private label business, and they've been glad that arbitrage is kind of just humming along in the background. And then there's those who have used arbitrage as a springboard. They work really well together. So they're just different aspects, different lanes you can kind of live in when you're selling on Amazon. And there's others. There's people who do wholesale and other things, and just the more you can kind of create opportunities and find opportunities, the better. Jen, our goal is that this would be recorded and that it would be posted on YouTube. So we believe that'll happen as long as we can figure out the technology for it. So it's being recorded and it'll get posted. And Jahangir, if you have any questions right now, ask them. We're live for a while longer. If you have time to hang in there with us and have questions right away, ask them. There's no question that's too basic or too simple. Really, there's no question that's too complicated. We know we have a big mix here. We have people who have never sold on Amazon, and they're kind of where I was 5 years ago, just saying, how can I create some margin? And for you, it might be just the thought of making $200 or $300 a month would be thrilling, because it would just give you some breathing room, and you can immediately think of some good things you could do with that money. So sometimes it's just a simple step forward, and then you get there and you start thinking, gosh, maybe I could turn my $250 a month into $500. And, neither Allan nor I just got to where we are overnight. We took simple steps, and we just kept working hard and thinking well. And that's where I've found Just One Dime to be invaluable, because I could interact with a whole host of people and I could ask tons of questions, not just on forums like this, but in a tight-knit membership community where I had just tons of access to information and to people. And I found that super, super helpful. Let's see if there's any questions that I passed over.
Sure.
Farah's asking about the 5 things that he should do before he launches his first product. You guys are slipping private label questions into our arbitrage Q&A, but we don't have as many people with us. And Allan, if you want to, feel free to respond to that.
Sure. I'll tell you the 5 things the 5 mistakes I did, and hopefully, if you know that, you won't do those mistakes. First, when talking about private label, the first time I launched a private label product, I launched 3 products at the same time. That was my first mistake. I usually recommend that you focus on finding one niche, finding one product, and then focusing all of your attention to that one product, because there's a lot of things that you have to do while you're finding the product, and then when you're manufacturing that product, and then when you launch the product and start selling, there's a lot of things that go that are involved in that process. And we usually recommend that you focus on one product. Based on my experience, I was going crazy for like 3 months, and at the end I didn't focus enough on one product that was selling very good, because I had 3 products that I was trying to focus on. I end up losing momentum and losing interest, and I went back to finding a new product, and I could have just focused on one and then have that successful product. So that would be number 1. Number 2, I see a lot of people doing the process the wrong way. They want to sell a product on Amazon, so they buy the first thing that they see on the research. They buy it, they send it to Amazon, and then they start trying to figure out, how do I sell this product, because I have 500 units on Amazon. How do I sell it? And for me, the right process is first understand that market, get very familiar with that market. How many, what are the sellers that are selling on that market? How many units are they selling every month? What are all the numbers, their history? Once you understand that market and you see that there's a big potential, high demand, low competition, then you can start thinking about, okay, I'm going to bring my product, but I'm going to bring a better quality product. And then you have better results, even if it takes you longer to kind of go through that process. That's number two. Number three, for me, is always focusing on quality. Now we're talking about private label. So the quality, when I talk about quality on private label, is a different thing. High quality pictures and high quality listing. If you understand the market on Amazon, most people, they cannot touch the product. They don't have access to touching the product. So pictures are very important when you have a product on Amazon, because that's how you're going to be able to transmit people, the quality of the product and how to use it and all of these things. So high quality pictures is a very important thing on Amazon for private label. That's number three. Number three and number four will be high quality pictures, high quality listing. And then I would say number five for me is focusing on optimizing the listing. A lot of people, they wanna sell something, so they rush through that process and they get to launching the product on Amazon. They see that it's not selling, so they go back to the beginning. And I did this mistake, so I'm not just talking about other people. That's what I did at the beginning. And you go back to, okay, let me find another product because this one is not really selling. And I think that's a big mistake, because if you focus on optimizing that listing that you already have, you've been working on it for a few months, you already invested, $2,000-$3,000 on inventory, and you have it on Amazon. The best thing to do is just working on optimizing that listing. We have one of the coaches here on Just One Dime that it took him a whole 1 year to optimize one of his listings to be able to start getting sales. And that's a very long time, from zero to optimizing a listing. But he does about $100,000 a month every month with that one product for the last year and a half now. So it takes a long time. It takes a lot of work. A lot of people, they give up in the process. And I just recommend that if you're going to be doing private label, focus on those things. Those are kind of like the mistakes that I've done on my private label products. Of course, I've been getting better and better now, every time. But that would be my recommendation.
Yeah. So just to be clear, when you're private labeling your own products, you are creating your own brand. You're purchasing product from a supplier, branding it, putting your own tweaks to it, making the product your own, often finding an advantage or something that sets your product apart so that you can market it. And maybe a market that already has a lot of demand, but now they can see what you've done to improve the product, and you're going to garner sales as a result. And now you've created your own listing. And so you have a specialized product with a specialized brand, and you're taking your own photos of that, or you're paying somebody to take photos of it, but you're building your whole listing. And now you need to get that listing to rank. You could have the best product, and if when somebody searches on Amazon, your product doesn't show up, you're never going to sell that product, no matter how good it is. So the challenge now for you is to get this brand new listing to appear in people's searches and to gain rank. In the world of arbitrage, what we're doing is we're finding listings that are already successful, and they're big name brands, and they're products that are readily available. And we're finding retailers or suppliers where we can get those products that are already selling on Amazon. And now we just take advantage of the fact that there's a listing that exists there, and we sell the product that we're finding in a retail store or another supplier. And we're using that listing, which is completely fine with Amazon. It's completely legal. There's nothing shady about that. Provided that the item you're selling exactly matches the listing. That's the key. But you find that all the time. So, if Nike is selling a pair of shoes on Amazon, there is nothing wrong with you finding that exact pair of shoes, that same pair of Nike shoes in the same condition, and selling those on the listing that's been created. And chances are Nike didn't even create that listing. That's common as well. And so they're just two very different approaches. So in arbitrage, you're not having to worry about getting your listing to rank or doing all that work. You're finding listings that have already been selling right along, and that's where you can get all the confidence from that your product is going to sell by jumping on a listing that already has precedent, and you can see what that precedent it already is through BSR. And I wanted to answer Marion's question. I noticed. Let me recommend you just type in the question to the chat and don't post it as a question, because when you do, it goes to this other pop-up, and I didn't even know there were some questions here. But Marion, welcome with us. He says he's sending his inventory in at the end of the week, which is perfectly normal. I wouldn't expect you to send it in more than once a week. In fact, with a lot of our sellers that are sending it in once every couple weeks. But the frustrator is that by the time he buys the product, it sends it into Amazon FBA, and it goes live, the price drops down, the BSR goes up. And so he's saying, what should I do? Allan, what would you say to that?
The first thing that I want to do is, and I would recommend him to do, is start using Keepa. If you're not using Keepa, you need to start using Keepa, because you have to understand that BSR changes every hour that changes. So, if you check the BSR on one product right now, in a few hours, it's gonna be different. And sometimes what happens is that when you check the the BSR on the product, and it shows very low, if you check the average of that rank for the last 30 days or 90 days, you're gonna see that even if it goes up and down, the average, it has to be something that is within your criteria. So I always, for example, we've seen some products that when I checked, the product was the rank was 2,000, and then the next few days it's back to 20,000 or 50,000. So what I like to do, if you're using Keepa, that's good. Try to always analyze your product based on the average for the last at least 3 months. That way, you know that even if it goes up and down, your average is going to be a good rank for you to know that it's selling constantly.
Yeah, Keep is a really good tool to analyze the numbers on a product over time. So you can look at what the last 3 months were like, the last 6 months, last year, and that enables you to avoid potentially inflated prices. So sometimes that's the problem, is you make a purchase pivoting off of an inflated price. Maybe the price just skyrocketed like 2 days ago, and without using Keepa, you wouldn't know that. And Keepa just gives you a good insight. So I would totally agree with Allan. And my other suggestion is, if you're doing that kind of research, then don't worry about chasing the price when it drops. Just sit tight. And there's plenty of times where I've done that, where I've seen a price drop. I haven't dropped my price. And again, if you're buying items that have a low BSR and they're selling a number of them, then you'll see your competition disappear with that lower price. And then it might be a couple weeks, or it might be a month or two, depending on how long you want to wait it out. You can just hang in there, and your price will sell. In fact, I've sold at higher prices because I've sat back and waited, and then I start to see, a pattern develop, and we're getting closer to Christmas or something, and I bump my price up a little bit more, and next thing you know, I'm selling it even at a higher price. So that's a challenge that we all face. I mean, the data does communicate to you what a quality product is, but it's not infallible, and it's tracking what's happened in the past. It's not prophetic. So none of the data is going to be able to predict completely perfect what the next month is going to look like, but it gives you a really good line of confidence that if you wait, you're gonna see a turnaround with those products. Emo, glad you joined us. I think I saw you on the YouTube channel too, and I'm glad you're here. Is an LLC required? Emo is asking. My answer is no. I sold on Amazon for almost 2 years, I think, and I had no business registered with the state whatsoever. I joined as just an individual. I had a professional seller's account, but Amazon doesn't require you to have an EIN or anything like that. At least they didn't when I signed up. I don't think they still are. You can just join and sell. And at some point, if you're seeing great success, there could be a really good advantage to developing an LLC. You can get tax exemption with a reseller's certificate, and you can head down a road of getting potential tax breaks. In fact, when I became an LLC, it was within months that I turned around and incorporated as an S corp, and I probably save $5,000 to $7,000 a year on my taxes just because I made that move. So I heard a tax guy, he made that recommendation, and I'm really glad I listened to what he had to say. So it doesn't make me feel so bad about paying him every year because he's saving big money every year, but it's not required. And so we would encourage you to get started, sell on Amazon, and then if you're seeing good success, at some point you'll want to make a calculated decision about when it would be helpful. And getting an LLC isn't really that difficult. You just have to register with a state and you pay a small fee, and that's about it. So here's a question for you, Allan. You probably can see that there. Are you still using tactical arbitrage? Do you like it? Is it okay for you? You're going to find a lot of mismatches with tactical arbitrage. It's just kind of the world you're living in. But yes. Any advice about that, Allan?
Yeah, we use tactical arbitrage. I don't find a lot of products on tactical arbitrage just because my criteria is a little bit higher. So every product that I want to buy or sell on Amazon, I want to have at least $7 of profit and at least 40% ROI. And when you're searching on using tactical arbitrage, if you put your settings very, very tight like that, it's always gonna run for hours and hours and not find a lot of stuff. And then when you find a few things, they're either mismatch or they're out of stock because already people already bought it and everything. So I have found more success just doing it manually. And if we do it manually, we're able to find enough leads for us to be able to buy and do everything without having to rely on tactical arbitrage. Now, I know a lot of people that they do well just using tactical arbitrage, but they don't mind if they get, even if they get 100% ROI, but it's $1 or $2 in profit. And I know there's a lot of items like that, and you can buy a lot of those items. And between $2 and $5, you're gonna find a lot of items. It's not just what I'm looking for. And then when it comes to shoes and clothing, where there's a lot of variations, with tactical arbitrage, we tend to find a lot of stuff, but it's not. You have to go through so many listings to clean it up to be able to find good items. So we kind of use a different model. And if you're in a membership, you're gonna learn this model is called reverse search, and we use that a lot more successful. And that's how we find a lot of our items when we're doing online arbitrage.
Good. Yeah, my experience with tactical arbitrage has been similar.
I love the software. I like it. I'm friends with Alex, and he's been doing it for a long time. For me, it's not, and I do search a lot, but it's just a lot of the stuff I end up finding it's just through the manual process.
Yeah, and I found that they're great too. You're just constantly having to manage your time, and so if tactical arbitrage can serve you in that capacity, then great. And if it can't, then you've just got to figure out how to navigate the software so that it's serving you. I'm a big proponent of that, of managing yourself and managing your business so that these things that you're doing are serving your purposes, especially if you're going to be paying for it. So just try to lock in and figure out a way that tactical arbitrage will really serve what you want to do for your business. And that's one of the cool things about Amazon is you can flex and make decisions so that the business is really personalized to whatever your needs and desires are and your experiences are. So depending on where you live and how much time you have, what your job life looks like, what your family is like, all those variables, you can kind of shape your business, and every single one of us is going to have a business that looks different based on what our needs are and what our abilities are and how we can tuck it in to the nooks and crannies of our lives, or whether we want to go full time. And that's one of the beauties of it. I think you can sell on Amazon, do it part time, have it be a small ancillary thing to what you're doing, or it can be a full time job that frees you up to just schedule your own time throughout your entire schedule. So, and there's 100 places in between where you can do that. Emo asks, for individual account, how does the Amazon Prime work? Amazon Prime works the same way, regardless of what kind of account you have, or regardless of if you have a business set up as an LLC or not. But basically, if you take advantage of Amazon FBA, your products are going to be in the pipeline for Amazon Prime. And that's one of the best aspects of using Amazon FBA. So when you send in your products to Amazon to fulfill those, that's Amazon FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. They're warehousing your products. When one of your products sells, they're picking it off the shelf, packing it in a box. They ship it to the customer. They deal with all the customer service. If there's a return, Amazon accepts the return, does all that work for you. It's great. It's what's given me the ability to scale my business so I can sell thousands of items a month. They're doing all the work. And another huge advantage of that is that when your product is being fulfilled by Amazon, when it's being sold and it's in the listing in the buy box, the Amazon Prime logo will appear by the price of your product, because one of the huge advantages for you when you're using Amazon FBA is that your item will qualify for free 1-day Prime shipping and everything that goes with that. So the issue isn't whether or not you have an individual account or whether or not you have a business setup or anything like that. If you're using Amazon FBA, then your items are going to be offered through Amazon Prime. And, I don't know what the statistics are, but I know the majority of people who buy on Amazon have Prime memberships, are taking advantage of Amazon Prime. My son just had a birthday on Thursday, and we did it. My wife and I realized there was something we wanted to get him, and it was like Monday, and we cranked through Amazon Prime and got it. We just know I don't have to pay extra, and it's going to arrive in a day or two, and that's a huge service. And how cool that not only does Amazon FBA help you scale your business, but now your market has just accelerated 100-fold, because there's people all out there that want to look at products and buy products that are Amazon Prime. In fact, I just talked to a friend of mine a few days ago, and she said she never buys from anyone on Amazon if it doesn't have the Prime logo and say fulfilled by Amazon. So as we talked, I realized she buys from third-party sellers all the time, but she refuses to buy from anyone who's doing like an FBM, a fulfilled by merchant sale. She just doesn't feel right about it. And I just think there's probably a lot of people out there like her. And so, Emo, that's really the situation, is take advantage of selling through Amazon FBA, send your stuff to a fulfillment center. Anyone who's selling as a merchant out of their own garage or warehouse isn't going to have that Prime logo unless they do something special. FBM sellers can sign up to get it under unique circumstances, but again, I don't really recommend that. Send it in FBA, let them do the work for you so you can scale your business and take advantage of it that way. Well, I think it's time for us to wrap up. Allan, do you have any closing remarks? I don't see any more questions.
Sure. I just think that for, like we were talking about at the beginning, a lot of people are looking for a secret or looking for high ninja techniques. And it's really only, for me, it's just start selling on Amazon, start building your inventory. The more inventory you have with good quality products, the more sales you're gonna have, and just knowing what kind of products to buy. So I would recommend, if you want to start, or if you already started and you don't really know what kind of products you have, try joining our membership. We have a lot of training. We have a lot of people that are having great success, and that might be just what you need to be able to go to the next level and start seeing results.
Do you want to follow up with Marion's last question?
Do you teach how to add a new retailer to TA?
Yeah, how to add a new retailer.
We have we have training on tactical arbitrage, and we do have training. Marian, I'm not sure if you're in a group. Try asking that question, and we'll direct you to the training, because we do have a full bonus section with all the training about tactical arbitrage. So you might find it in there if you're part of the membership. But we do have a full, I think it's 5, 6, 7 different videos on how to use tactical arbitrage in the membership.
Yeah, there's a lot of bonus material in the membership. I think with tactical arbitrage, it is tricky to add your own retailer, and I think it depends on what level membership or agreement you have with tactical arbitrage as to whether or not you're even able to do that. But yeah, that's a good response, Allan. And guys, thanks for making this a good time. We are going to be diligent to work out the technological glitches. Hopefully all of that will be smoothed out. We're going to be hosting a program next Saturday at noon Central Standard Time. We're going to continue to do arbitrage Q&A each Saturday at noon. And so look for us. We want you to enjoy the rest of your weekend. We're hoping that you're seeing hope that you can develop your own margin. And I think really right now, jump on the chance to take advantage of Amazon FBA. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity for a long time to come. It's only growing and getting better. We're glad to be helpful. Hope you guys are helped by it, and we will see you next week. Have a great weekend.
All right, guys. Take care.